power, whether red or blue. I could not care less about Texas, me and you. They created this give me country that don't value hard work. For a Texan to survive, all we need are some seeds and dirt. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone. We believe in family and we value our community. Gladly lend a helping hand to a neighbor in need. And we don't believe that government should provide for all of society's needs. No, it's the pride of a Texan to give to others voluntarily. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Gotta save your country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Gotta save your country, for it's long gone. They like our tax dollars and they love our natural resources. They don't want to see us driving trucks, they'd rather see us riding horses. And now they want to ban our guns, you know, especially the ones that look scary. But may I remind you of the Gonzales Cannon and the Alamo heroes we buried. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save our country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save our country, for it's long gone. This last verse is straight from the Texas Constitution, Article 1, Section 1 and 2. Look it up. Texas is an independent state, yet presently we suffer. We no longer possess the right to locally self-govern. And now it's time as a people in which all political power is inherent. And in such manner we find expedient, we reform or abolish our government. I said, Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone.
All right. Wow, that was abrupt. You would think after doing this for so long, I would expect when that thing was going to cut off. So anyway, hello, everyone. It's time for that midweek break where I grab a cup of coffee, another cup of coffee. Let's not pretend like this is my first one or second one of the day, right? But I grab a cup of coffee. Maybe you do too. And we do a little decompress, right? I'm here to answer your questions. We're going to talk about what's going on with TEXIT, and of course, tonight we're going to talk about being thankful. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. We'll talk about what's happened over the last week as well, and kind of give a look ahead for next week. But in the meantime, for those of you joining us for the first time, I'm Daniel Miller, president of the Texas Nationalist Movement, and this is Late Night Coffee Talk. And I want to thank all of you for joining us, whether you are a first timer or been here forever. Thanks for carving a little time out, and let's get together. Right, we have a good time. I want to remind you guys, let's get some of this out of the way. Remind you that if you are watching on either of the YouTube channels, be sure to drop your questions or comments in the chat. Chat is active on both YouTube channels. And of course, if you're watching on Facebook, haha, it's funny. Be sure that you go on there and, of course, comment. And when you comment, it all shows up over here and I get your questions or whatever. If you're watching on any of the other platforms, be sure to drop your questions to coffeetalk@thetnm.org. If you watch closely at the bottom, that little scrolly thing right there, look, you're going to see it. There it is. Boom. Coffeetalk@thetnm.org. Be sure to drop your questions over there. I'll have them open. Obviously, going to be watching what's going on in the chat for questions. Kara's over there in the other room after masterfully roasting a turkey. She is rocking on the production tonight, so she'll be watching for your questions and getting them queued up for me. And, we'll get to them as time allows. So, that being said, a couple of things. Some of you noticed that on the new platform, we are not streaming live to the app or Roku. We're having to get those sort of recorded and uploaded to the system, but we'll be back on there shortly. Right, the new platform is a little more limited in that regard, but we're doing some work around things, and we'll be back live streaming on those platforms very, very, very soon. But interestingly enough, we are actually live streaming for the first time on LinkedIn tonight. Right, that's a brand new one for us. So we're live streaming over there. We've got a little bit of a presence over there. It took us a little bit to get over the hump because most people are not used to seeing the TNM on LinkedIn. So we've been over there for a while. Hopefully, many of you are following us over there. But we are live streaming. So really glad to be doing that for the first time. And of course, as always, the newly liberated Twitter, we're streaming over there as well. Just really quickly, this will be, I think, the third week that we've done this. But if you comment with a specific hashtag on either YouTube or Facebook, you will be entered to win. Right. So we've been doing this thing where we're giving out prize packs at the end of the live streams. This week is going to be no different. So far, we've had Carl Gleim win, we've had Regina Ross win, and you have that opportunity as well. So be sure that during the course of this broadcast, in the chat or the comments on either the Facebook page or on the YouTube channels, be sure to comment with hashtag TEXIT thanks. That's hashtag TEXIT thanks. You'll see it scrolling down there at the bottom right now. And get plugged in. Let us know, right? So, you can get by with just tweeting TEXIT thanks. However, what I would like to do, excuse me, what I would like to do is for the duration of this broadcast, not tweet. My God. See, I've been spending a lot of time over there on the newly liberated Twitter. Be sure to comment and let us know what you're thankful for, right? I mean, we're heading into Thanksgiving tomorrow. And I think TEXIT supporters have an awful lot to think about, to be thankful for as we reflect back over the last year. We have definitely we've got a lot to be thankful for. But, I can talk about what I'm thankful for, but I want to hear from you, right? So be sure you comment with what you're thankful for, and we'll go through those during the broadcast. And of course, again, be sure to submit your questions. You got me here. You know where I'm at. Every single solitary Wednesday, unless I'm traveling, right? And it's impossible. But generally, every Wednesday, I'm here right at 9:00 to answer your questions. And you guys always are sending in some great questions. And this week is going to be no different, especially if you're gearing up to go deal with some potential, relatives on Thanksgiving that may be on the bubble about TEXIT. Now is a good opportunity to have that discussion, right? To prep and be ready. All right, let's get down to it. Let's find some of these. I'm going to I tell you what, let's go ahead and talk about what has transpired over the last week. So, as you can imagine, it's been really a we're so busy. I mean, I don't even know how to encapsulate the level of busy. Right, while everyone is kind of getting ready to check out for the holidays, which, by the way, you should not, because this is when the battle is happening. The battle for the next legislative session is already engaged, so you need to be a part of that. But we're staying busy, right? I've done a ton of media interviews. I was it was interesting for those of you who saw it. I was on Steve Gruber's broadcast on Real America's Voice. He wanted to talk about the border, and of course, we talked about TEXIT, and I think Steve's starting to soften to the idea of TEXIT a bit, even though he's not in Texas. He's technically in Michigan. I think this election has really sort of softened him to this concept of states wanting to withdraw from the union. But uh, we got into a little bit of Texas territory, and lo and behold, as soon as it was over, there was a request for me to do his radio show the next morning at about 6 a.m. So super long. It makes for a super short night, super long days. But I was really glad that Steve asked, and he's always been a good interview. Always been a good interview, whether it's about the border or Texit or pretty much anything else. Steve just does a great job. There's been some more press coverage related to the Facebook lawsuits. Matter of fact, I was a guest on Paul Davis, the attorney that's working our lawsuit against Facebook. I was on his podcast last night. And as a matter of fact, we simultaneously live streamed it on our YouTube channels and on our Facebook pages. So be sure you go check that out. Paul and I actually dove into maybe more about the constitutionality and legality of Texit, but then we actually talked about the Facebook suit. But he did cover it, and he did answer a few questions about it. So be sure you check that out. It's archived both on our Facebook page and our YouTube stream or YouTube channels. Additionally, we've had a major addition to the national leadership team this week. It all went down today. We just announced it to the rest of the national leadership team, but we have a brand new communications director and a whole team coming on board over there to help us communicate with you better, to help us communicate with Texas voters better, to get into some more major media like you guys have been asking for. Not that we haven't been working it; it's just been super difficult, and as you might imagine. But we've got a brand new comm director, a couple new members of the comm team over there, in addition to our wonderful folks that are already over there working, whether they're in graphics or videography or content writers for Texas Partisan or the TNM website. We've just got a great team. And so expect a lot of big things to happen as we move forward. Lots of great things are going to happen on the communications front. So you're going to just, all I can say is keep your peepers peeled, right? We're going to be super busy, super visible. And hopefully you guys are as excited about it as I am, because this has been, and I'll let you guys in on a secret related to the TNM. Comms has been one of the most difficult things for us to get right. Okay. I mean, we've just, in my viewpoint, we've always had the pieces, but we've never had, it's kind of like you had all the acts in the circus, but you never had the ringmaster that could pull it all together. And so it was always difficult. We've had some phenomenal comm directors in the past. I can remember when George Contreras was our communications director. He really kind of set the tone for a lot of the things that we still do today. He was phenomenal at it, but during his tenure, we just didn't have the volunteers. And so you go through sort of this progression in the TNM and realize that for many years we've bootstrapped this, right? We had to take what we could get. We operated with almost 100% volunteers with the occasional contractor. And so it was always super difficult for us to kind of get in a groove where comms is concerned. Now, field, that's always been the field is always going to be the field, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. It is a game of volunteers and voter contact, but comms is a little bit different. It's a strange animal. And so it's been difficult for us. So, having someone, in a group of people coming on with super pro credentials that are ready to take the Texit message to the world is just huge. And you couple that with, what I talked about last week, which is bringing on the foremost global expert on independence referenda as a consultant for the organization. You guys should be. I would hope that you're as excited about it as I am. I mean, it's just so many things are happening, and these are huge things. I mean, they're in the scheme of the Texit strategy and the Texit campaign and the life of the organization. These all represent major game changers. So it's going to be super super important that we all just kind of double down. I mean, we've got to get all of us super active, super fast, and really make the most of this time we have between now and the start of the legislative session. So, look, I'm going to encourage you, if you are not plugged into a local group, go do that, right? Head over right now. If you're not a registered supporter, head over to tnm.me/vote and become a registered supporter. Matter of fact, let me throw that down there so you guys can see all of those. But head over and become a registered supporter, tnm.me/vote. If you can't volunteer, think about a donation, right? Head over to tnm.me/donate, hit any of the donation links, drop a 5, a 10, whatever you got. We need it. We absolutely need it. We did great during the Catalyst campaign. But if you want to understand how monumental the task ahead of us is, think about this. The combined political spend for the Republican candidate and the Democrat candidate for governor in the midterms, the combined spend for the duration of the campaign was in excess of $200 million, right? Combined. So they were pretty much neck and neck as far as spending goes and raising goes. But it's super important. I mean, you got to have a real clear perspective on this. I actually talked about it in the book, right? One of the things holding Texas back, I talked about that. I talked about it amongst political amateurism and that sort of hokey pokey mentality that people have about one toe in, one toe out, which this week has also proved that there's still some people that have that sort of mentality, man. They hit the first difficulty and they fold like Superman on laundry day. I don't understand that mindset, but it's not for me to understand, right? Everyone's got their own personal thing they got to contend with, and maybe my standards are a little bit different than some other people's standards. Maybe you can't hardly think of a game that would get me to quit, and for them, maybe they just kind of come on board looking for a reason to quit, looking for a reason to absolve themselves in their minds of responsibility. I don't know. I digress. So yeah, be sure to head over there, register your support, volunteer, join a local group. Go to the website, man. There's all kinds of things there. And for those of you that are just now joining us, remember, put your comments in the chat with hashtag Texit Thanks to be entered to win a prize pack. Right. So let's get down to it. As I said, look, a big bulk of what we're going to do tonight is really talking about gratitude and talking about what you're thankful for. And, we're definitely keenly aware that Texas supporters have a lot to be thankful for over this holiday season. And as we reflect back on the last year, so be sure you drop those in the chat. All right, let's get down to some questions. Here's one. Randy C says, is TNM planning on becoming more active on Truth Social, having a share link button on the TNM site for it? There seems to be a ton of people that would be interested. It's funny. Actually had this conversation last week about Truth Social and about Getter. And there are some discussions that are being had about being more active over there on those platforms, but the share button is more of a technical question, right? So and this is where I get to talk like I'm in my day job, right? What I do to earn money. Um, you look at the platforms like Facebook and Twitter and a lot of these guys that have share buttons, and what they have done from a technical perspective is they have made it to where their platform can receive shared data, right? And some of them do it through something called an API. Some of them do it through a structured link or a structured URL. It's been one of the issues that we've had, say, like when Parler came around, Getter's kind of the same way. And my understanding is from talking to our development team is that Truth Social hasn't really made anything easily available for that. And because it hasn't been requested much, and we've got a lot going on from a development standpoint through our technology, it hasn't been a super big issue. But what I can tell you is that if more people reach out and say, look, this is where we are, this is our permanent home in social media, this is our platform, and we would like the ability to do that, then very likely it will move it up the priority list. So it's just kind of the way it works. When you have so many things that people are asking for, you have to prioritize based off of the necessities of the organization, what we're already working on, what we know we need to get done, and then you weigh those against what people are requesting and asking for, and then you look at volume, velocity, and things like that for feature enhancements and stuff like that. It's just typical programmer stuff, right? So, and project management. But understand that we actually have had this conversation recently, and we'll keep you posted when we get something done on it. Okay, Christopher says, what do you think of all the attention coming to the border? I will say this: almost every interview that I have done on Real Americans of Whisper, with the exception of Dr. Gina. Dr. Gina just wants me on for comic relief, and I will go there and do that anytime. And I don't know why they find it so funny, the stuff that I say about the things they bring up. Maybe it was referring to Fetterman and Senator Shrek. I don't know. I don't know why they are so amused, but they are so amused. But other than that, pretty much every interview I've done on an RAV show, we did one, did I think several on OAN. I mean, but so many of those interviews have been focused on the border, right? So much of what I talked about last week, I believe it was, or perhaps the week before, all this stuff kind of runs together about the border and about borders, about Abbott's invasion declaration. That's what they want to talk about. Look, all of the other states are looking at Texas to stand up, to do something concrete. And so when our governor appears to be soft, some people will argue that he's not soft, but I would argue that there is a much greater distance that he could go on the border issue that's within his powers, that is even short of TEXIT. There's more that he could do that he's not doing. That's the case that we've made for a very long time. But other states are looking at Texas to lead, right? They want us to do something, and they don't care what the federal government says, which I think is probably part of the concern. As I told Steve on the interview, we're talking about the border. Part of the reason that I believe that Abbott is not going whole hog on the border is that he understands that it will ultimately, if he pushes it that far, it will lead to a constitutional crisis, right? Ooh, scary words. It will lead to a constitutional crisis. And we know where that ends up. If we go to secure our border and we do all those things, and the federal government comes in and says, I don't know, arrests our DPS officers, that creates a standoff. And what that will do is that will throw Texas support probably at an 80% plus mark. And so that is the logical next step, right? You can't, at some point, either the federal government backs down, or the state backs down, or the state backs out, right? I mean, that's kind of the three things that happen. And I don't think Abbott wants to be in that position, because ultimately I think that he would probably back down. He would be the guy that would back down to the feds, and that is not encouraging. Uh, all right. Here's another one. Oh my God, Stacy. When are you and attorney Paul Davis going out on a comedy tour? You could open for Chad. Um, I don't, I don't know why a comedy tour. It makes no sense to me. And that would ultimately be up to Chad whether we would open for him or not. I've seen Chad's tour schedule. He goes to places that I wouldn't be caught dead, cities and states that I wouldn't be caught dead. They want to hear him. They want him to be funny. I appreciate that, but I could not do that for him. So I don't see a comedy tour in our future. Although I would say that when our Facebook suit goes to court and potentially goes to trial, I might suggest that you show up because it could be comedy. Uh, just saying. Okay. Melinda Lou says Rumble, please and thank you. Can super chat there. Yeah, Rumble's on the radar. We had done some testing with Rumble. Right now, we're actually set to, once the broadcast finishes and actually populates over there on our Rumble channel. But we did look at Rumble Live. So I visited when we did, if you remember, a few months back, we went to CPAC up there in Dallas and actually met with Alex from Rumble. We were staying at the same hotel as the entire Rumble team. And the discussion was about one of the things that really makes streaming on Rumble difficult is they don't allow something called persistent stream keys, aka they don't make it to where I can go in here and hit a button and the stream fires up or schedules. Right? You have to go through a whole bunch of steps over on their end. They do not make it easy to stream. And so you have to go in there and create the event every single time. And it just, when you're working the number of hours that we're working, sometimes, having to fire up an event that, 15 extra minutes is just not necessarily worth it. So, but we're having that conversation. So I did speak with Alex. I understand that persistent stream keys are on their roadmap. We'll see. If we could get maybe another volunteer in here to help with production and pre-production, that might happen sooner than you think. All right. Here we go. Here's some thankfulness. Atlas Disease says, I'm thankful for the great country of Texas. Aren't we all? Aren't we all? I don't know if you guys read my my article on the Texian Partisan, right? It was supposed to be on Monday, but it was travel, went to Abilene, which not even talk about that, right? Last weekend, drove up to Abilene, went to a meetup there in Abilene, hosted by Lee Jacobson, the local coordinator. Then the next morning, went to leadership training, did a couple of lessons there, then bounced over to the Libertarian Party of Texas was having a state meeting. So I got to go there and speak to them during their lunch break, and met just a ton of great people over there. Then came back to the training, then went to a social that night in Abilene, and so all of that stuff happened. But I wrote so because of all that, I was able to get my Miller on Monday column ready to go for the Partisan. So it was published a day late, but I wrote it about the big boogeyman of nationalism, right? How people the opposition loves to malign it. Most people don't care, right? They don't. The word is not scary to them, but the opposition loves to drag it out. Whatever, we don't care. Truth in labeling, right? But there was a section that I cut from the article that I had written that just didn't fit, that I'd actually talked about previously. We used to teach it in the TNM all the time. We used to talk about used to be part of the training. I want to say that I've talked about it some in Line in the Sand, but probably not as much. But it was really about the difference between nation, state, and country. As a matter of fact, I believe if you go to the Insider blog section on the TNM website, there's actually an old video recording of me talking about that very thing, about the difference between nation, state, and country, and how so much would be different in people's mindsets if they understood there was a difference between those three. So when you say you're thankful for the great country of Texas, I'm thinking of it in that sense, right? I too am thankful for the country of Texas. I am also thankful for the nation of Texas. So thanks for sharing that, Atlas. Appreciate that. Okay, John Robinson. He says, I'm thankful for the TNM and the progress we've made this year. Amen. And John, we would not have made this kind of progress were it not for folks like you and the rest of our field leadership. And I mean, our hardworking volunteers that are out there just grinding this thing out, connecting with people left and right, conducting meetups. You guys are stellar. So, John, I'm thankful for you, and I'm thankful for everyone that's on the team. Okay, let's get down to the next one. Lynn says, "I'm thankful to be a part of this historical movement." And we're thankful to have you, Lynn, and excited to be working with potentially working with you. I think it's going to be phenomenal. John, all right. What does John say? John says, thanks for being close enough to Austin to attend hearings at the Capitol, but far enough to remain somewhat sane. Yeah, where you're at, which if you guys don't know, John is our local coordinator there in Lano, but we're getting ready. We're getting one of the store owners here in close to our house. His daughter's like a valedictorian right now at UT in Austin, and which is an impressive feat. So, but we were visiting with him, and he said that he and his wife have been splitting a lot of time between this area and going to Austin. So, well, guess what, buddy? Come January, you're going to be seeing a lot of me. We may have to meet up and break bread in Austin. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a lot of work. And John, I hope you got a spare room, buddy. I'm just kidding. Kenneth says, I'm thankful for our future liberated Texas. There you go. Forward thinking, man. Keep the vision alive, right? Thank you, Kenneth. Beverly says, I am thankful for the heroes of the Alamo. Yeah, they have set a phenomenal example for us all. I don't know that 2 or 3 days passes without me having a conversation with someone and talking about what happened at the Alamo. It has always I think touched and inspired me. Okay, here we go. Texas Rebel Patriot says, I am thankful for a great group of like-minded individuals. Let me tell you, from someone who walked this path not quite alone, but seemingly sometimes back in the day, one of the greatest things was being able to connect supporters with one another, right? To hear that phrase that, hey, this is something I've been looking for my entire life. When the opposition atomizes us and tries to disenfranchise us, to marginalize us, to make us feel like people are nuts if they think the way that we think about Texas independence. It's great to be able to connect with people who are on the same wavelength, and we can see those poll numbers all day long. 66% of likely voters would vote yes, but at the end of the day, those are numbers on paper or a screen. What is real is this, right? These connections that we make with one another, and knowing that we are not, in fact, alone. So yes, I too am thankful for that, Reb. Okay, Eric says, thankful for you and this organization being here and staying the course for a free and independent Texas. Yes, thank you, Eric. That's nice to hear. It really is. We've sacrificed a lot to keep this thing moving and grooving over the years. But we're here, and we're glad that so many of you are with us. With us on this journey. There's no way we can properly express our gratitude. Uh, let's go win, though, right? Let's go win. Then we'll have a big party, and we can pat each other on the back and be lifelong friends and swap war stories, right? Rhonda says, thankful I found the TNM. Oh, hang on. It's all caps. Thankful I found the TNM. Sorry. I have to, every time I see all caps, I have to do that. It's just my thing. Rhonda, the TNM's thankful that you found the TNM as well. Okay. Let's see here. Alan says, I'm thankful to have been born and raised in Southeast Texas in the shadows of the San Jacinto battleground. Man, oh man, I cannot imagine, waking up every day and being able to look out stand in my yard and see that thing. I mean, you want to talk about a reminder. The Alamo will always be a sacred place, but San Jacinto is the monument to our victory, right? You're always going to have you're always going to have an Alamo, right? You're always going to have that thing where it's like, this is the hill I'm going to die on, right? And you're going to just go out there and you're going to get your butt kicked, and it's going to be terrible. It's going to suck, right? But at least we didn't not having to give our lives and spill our blood in a crumbling adobe mission, right? But on the other side, we always have to remember, we can remember the Alamo, but we should not forget San Jacinto, right? The victory. It happened. And to be able to look out there on the regular and see that monument, I think would be just as inspiring. A reminder that victory is always possible. There is always a way to win. Winners find a way to win. And you never actually lose until you give up. Okay. Christina says, I'm thankful to be back in Texas after spending the last 2 months in LA. I'm guessing that's Louisiana, right? And it's understandable why. Welcome back home, Christina. All right. Hutch says, I am thankful for family and my health. Man, those are two great things to be thankful for. I spoke with my daughter today, and one of her best friends in the entire world lost her mother. Her mother was 43 years old and died suddenly. Yeah, very sad state of affairs. But be sure to check that out. Google those words, died suddenly. Just saying. But yeah, if you've got your health and you've got your family, then man, it's something great to be thankful for. Excuse me. Jerry says, I'm thankful that in 1980, my family and I were able to escape from the People's Republic of Illinois and were able to live the rest of our lives in Texas. Jerry, that is definitely something to be thankful for. Dean says, thankful for so many freedom loving Texians. Y'all will help make independence happen. Amen. Isn't it wonderful to be marching side by side with so many wonderful people? I mean, it's just so great. Okay. Real Efficient says, what bills have been filed for the upcoming Texas Ledge session on TEXIT? Covered it last week. We revealed the language for the bill. It has not been filed yet. It has been sent to Ledge Council for its seal of approval, which is something that needs to happen. Which, by the way, thank you, Real Fishing, for reminding me. We just launched a mini course on the TNM website in the TNM Academy. If you're a registered user and you were logged in, go to the Academy link. You will see it in the Texas Civics section, and it's called How a Bill Becomes Law. And so I would encourage all of you, before we get to the legislative session, to go take that mini course. It doesn't take very long at all. But one of the things we found out last session was, not that we didn't know it before, but it really was brought to the forefront, is how few Texans actually understand the process of how a bill becomes law here in Texas. So we've got a mini course over there, borrowed heavily from the Legislative Council, right? So they maintain all the rules and everything else. So it is chocked full of information. I would suggest that all of you head over there to the TNM Academy and get it squared away. Go take that course. But as soon as the TEXIT, the Texas Independence Referendum Act is filed, you won't have to ask. I have to say that phrase an awful lot. Right. There are some things that are just so stinking major that if you have to ask, then they haven't happened. Right. Because they are those things that when they are so stinking major that when they happen, we're going to go shout it from the mountaintops. Right. You will never have to ask about major things. It is the safest bet that if you have not heard about it already, then it hasn't happened. Okay. But thanks for your question. All right. Deborah says, I'm thankful that for one, I live in the Republic of Texas. A to the men. Sana says, thankful for a Texan husband who brought our family here from California and then got me involved in the TNM. Sana, we love you and Don more than we can express. And we are thankful that Don brought you here and that you guys were here. man, there's not a day goes by I don't miss Don. That's the absolute truth. But definitely thankful for Don and for you, Sana. All right. Hey, Susan Williamson, thank you so much for the super chat. We do appreciate that. Thank you very much. That definitely helps. Thankful for that. Okay. Deborah says, thankful for the effort Daniel and team put forth. Look, it is a team effort. You think about how hard I work. There are that though. I mean, we've got tons of people that are working that hard, that are just slamming and jamming 24/7, 365. And some people, they don't believe when we say that we work 24/7, 365. But I will tell you, members of the national leadership team, there is always someone up and working every single minute of every single day, every single year, and it has been that way so much. So don't think about my efforts. Think about the rest of the team. I mean, because it definitely takes a team to get the victory. All right. Hey, Eric, thank you so much for your super chat. We do appreciate that. Again, thankful. Okay, we got that. And Paul, thank you so much for your super chat. And Christina, thank you so much for your super chat. And again, welcome home from Louisiana. And Gary, thank you so much for your super chat. And Synth Mania. Oh, I recognize that graphic. That is somebody who's into some synthwave. I know what that is. Thank you so much for your super chat. All right. Let's get down here. Cheryl says, I'm thankful God has blessed Texas abundantly. Amen. So we can have confidence and courage as we proceed towards independence. It is just such a different discussion talking about Texas independence than it is independence for a lot of places around the world. I mean, you guys, you have to remember when people say that it can't be done, understand that so many self-governing independent nations around the world right now started off far worse than we are. We are, whether it's our economic situation, our political situation, the infrastructure that we have, the fact that structurally we are like a self-governing independent nation. I mean, some of these places around the world started with almost nothing, right? When you look at the self-governing independent nations that came about as a result of decolonialization, when the colonial powers pulled out, they left them with almost nothing, right? They had to build from scratch, and so it is definitely something to be thankful for, and shows, Cheryl, that you've got tremendous insight and understanding, and just how well poised we are to not just be a self-governing independent nation, but to be a successful, prosperous global powerhouse as a self-governing independent nation. Bill Newland says, I am thankful for my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and the gift of salvation he gives to all who believe in him. That is a great thing to be thankful for, Bill. And thank you for sharing that with everyone. Amen. Okay, here we go. I don't even know what that username is, but you can read it much better than I can say it. But thankful for those who gave their lives at Goliad. Absolutely. Everyone who gave their lives in the Texas Revolution. Those who lived and those who died in every single conflict or skirmish, we should be thankful for. Clark says this. Clark says, I am thankful for a group of people who see the corruption of the federal government and aren't satisfied with how things are. Very true. It's good to be around people who are operating with eyes wide open. Lori says, I'm thankful that I'm a lifelong Texan. That is a good thing to be thankful for. Okay, Gary says, I'm thankful that since doing genealogy, finding someone who was at the Alamo during the battle. Yeah, you're related to someone. You should probably go check out the Alamo Defenders Descendants Association, right? Lee Spencer White and those guys over there. They've got a great organization. Susan says, I'm thankful to be a native Texian. Amen. I'm in the same boat. Christina says, I'm thankful for every one of my TNM volunteers here in Smith County. They are my family now, and I'm dang proud they are in the trenches with me. Isn't it wonderful to have brothers and sisters that are working toward the same goal, and that goal is as big as the one that we're working on? Okay, Manny says, "Hey, I never noticed that your pictures you playing the drums. That's pretty cool." Manny says, "I'm thankful that my family on my mother's side have been in Texas since 1620." You guys catching that? 1620. They came here to work on the first missions as stonecutters. I don't care what generation anyone on here says they are. I think Manny's got us all beat. That's pretty impressive. All right. Raging smirk. Thankful to be called one of those kooky Texit people, said my county rhino co-volunteer. I'm guessing that's co-volunteer. I don't know what that means other than someone in your county is under the mistaken impression that they are in the majority. We're the ones in the majority, right? We're the ones where everywhere we put our foot, it belongs to us. We're in the majority. If they think that you're a kooky Texan person, they need to wait until they realize that the person checking out their groceries, or the teacher at their school, or the person who services their plumbing, or the person who manages their money at some financial firm, or literally 2 out of every 3 people they probably come into contact with is just as kooky as you. It isn't that really gonna butter their bread. Ah, don't you love it? Okay, let's see. Texas Nationalist says, "I'm thankful for the future independent nation of Texas." Amen. I like that. Assume the win. Kent Davis says, "I'm thankful to be a part of the TNM and look forward to Texas becoming an independent nation again." Booyah. I'm with you, buddy. Let's go win it. Okay. Lynn says, "I think we did this. I'm thankful to be involved in this historical movement." Yes, we did that one. We're thankful for you, Lynn. Donna McClure says, "Thankful for Daniel and Kara and the TNM." Thank you, Donna. We appreciate you. And okay, let's see what Reg says. Reg says, "I'm thankful for the heroes and scoundrels in my bloodlines that have helped to be who I am, do what I do." I think Reg is saying that her ancestors, jet fuel is pumping through her veins, and were it not for them, she would not be on this path to victory and be the absolute Hellcat that she is in fighting this thing, right? If you have never seen the video of Regina uh, standing up in front of the convention, the Republican convention in 2016, it's on the website. You should go watch it. Yeah, she's the one who picked that floor fight, and you got to go watch that. It's a lot of fun. All right, that is so. Let me check see if we got anything in via email. We do not. I think we covered everything so far. Wow, man, you guys have a lot to be thankful for, and I'm really super glad to hear it. Hey, a reminder: if you're just now joining us, be sure to comment with the hashtag right there, TEXIT thanks, and we're going to do a drawing at the end of the broadcast tonight, and get you a nice little TEXIT prize pack out. All right. So let me kind of get to where we're headed. We've got tons to be thankful for. I've heard where you're thankful. Let me just tell you from my vantage point. I am somebody who's been at this grind for quite some time. I am thankful beyond belief to be surrounded by people like y'all, right? People that have a heart that beats for Texas independence, right? You're Texians, and having a heart that beats for Texas that really is not just sort of that same old rhetoric, right? I talked about it in the book. I called it bumper sticker activism. You get wrapped up, people get wrapped up in the passions of the moment. They get some kind of grievance or whatever, and then it dissipates over time, right? They learn to live with it, or they go take anger management classes or whatever it is. But what we have seen is what we predicted a long time ago, which is this rising, right? This awakening of the Texian spirit, right? That same spirit that led the siege of Bear, that that fueled those at Goliad and the Alamo and the Texian army at San Jacinto, that carved an empire out of a wilderness, that came to a land that was rather bountiful, but yet it was dangerous, and carved out what we know now as Texas. And that spirit it had been, I think, thinning out here in Texas. And I don't know anyone who would really, maybe other than the opposition, would disagree with that. We saw it in the 1950s when they started phasing out the singing of Texas, our Texas, in our schools. We've seen this sort of the systematic dismantling of a Texas national identity. And so we knew that to make Texas self-governing, free, and independent, that spirit had to be rekindled. And there's only so much you can do externally. There's only so much you can encourage and cajole and all those sorts of things. It's ultimately up to the spirit of the men and the women that live here to reach down and rekindle those old fires, as to borrow from Terrence McSweeney, right? But to rekindle those old fires and to really pour some gas on that spirit, right? Pour it on that fire to rekindle that fire, and so independence becomes this natural destination as opposed to just kind of another policy thing, right? When you have this spirit of independence that just wells up inside of you, that you have a passion for, then anything short of that is unacceptable. And so you just keep moving forward until you get it done. And I go back to what McSweeney said. I quoted it in the book. It's, until my epitaph reads, if, not if, but when my nation, right? I mean, when it becomes an inevitability, it becomes a certainty that whether it's, this moment or the next moment, or a year from now, or 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, or 100 years from now, it becomes a certainty that it will happen. And the reality is that timeline is really dependent upon how strong and hot that fire burns, and how contagious, how well it catches in the hearts and the minds and the souls of our fellow countrymen. Right? That's what it takes. And so it can go very quickly or it can take a long time. But at the end of the day, when your passion burns with that spirit of independence, right? That Texian spirit, um, you are uh, content with progress, but always discontented when you were not there. And that discontent motivates you to just work your tail off to make it happen. And so, if we're talking about things to be thankful for, I say all that as a very long setup to say that I am thankful to be able to get to the day where I am seeing that fire burn hotter and brighter than it has for generations among our fellow Texians, and that includes you. That includes so many of you that whether you've been with us for years and years or you just now got here. Um, we're thankful for you. We're thankful that you have added your fire to ours, so that we can create more heat and create more light and get Texas independence done. So I am beyond thankful for all of you. You have to remember, I spent a very large portion of my adult life being told, just like the gentleman earlier, that this was the kookiest idea known to man. But you know who didn't think it was kooky? The people of Texas. they they apparently didn't think it was kooky. So I'm thankful for everyone who will not let their light be hidden. Right? They will not let that fire be extinguished. They will not hide their light because other people are dim. Right? I'm thankful for those people that are unapologetic, unafraid, unashamed, unabashed Texas nationalists. I'm thankful for you. If that describes you, then I'm thankful for you. If it doesn't describe you, then get to work on it, and I'll be thankful for you next year. Right? So I love that. All right. Let's go see if we got any more. And here we go. Donna, she thank you for your $20 and your super chat. In it to win it. Hashtag TEXIT A to the men. Hey, thank you all so much. I'm seeing some thanks here. Thanks to Travis McQueen for helping me get started. Look, guys, be sure to tell everyone, show your gratitude. I can tell you right now that if I had an opportunity to tell my parents today how thankful I am for the life they gave me and how they prepared me mentally for where I'm at right now, I would take that minute. I would trade it. I would trade anything I own for that one opportunity to just tell them thank you. So, all right, let's do this. We're at that point. Let's get into the draw, and then we'll start the wrap up. All right. Let me put this bad boy on the screen here. Boom, and here it is. All right. I'm going to say go ahead. And if you have not commented with hashtag Texit thanks, now is the time because it's getting ready to go down at the Chuck E. Cheese, right? All right. There we go. Got it. Add it to the stream. Okay. Here we go. Get your comments in. Hashtag Texit thanks. Going in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Man, this is exciting. There should be some music. Ha ha! There we go. All right, you know the drill. Hutch, be sure to send your contact information, your mailing address, and everything else. Be sure to email it to coffeetalk at thetnm.org. And congratulations on your win. Hey, Black Friday came early for Hutch. What does that mean? Does that mean that it's going to get regifted? It may be. I don't know. I don't know how you guys do Christmas at your house, but if it gets regifted, it's not going to break our hearts. Not gonna hurt our feelings. You do with it what you want. But congratulations, amigo. You got the prize back. All right. Let's get down to it as we wrap this bad boy up. Remember, if you are not already a member of the Texas Nationalist Movement, now is a good time to make that happen. Head over to tnm.me/join. That is tnm.me/join. Become a member today. And of course, if you are not already a volunteer, head over to tnm.me/volunteer. Remember, many hands make light work, and it's going to take all of us to get this job done. And look, if you are not plugging into your local group, it is the biggest missed opportunity that you are making right now in the TNM, right? It is the biggest missed opportunity. And so you don't want to miss opportunities. Head over to tnm.me/local groups. Find the group nearest you. And if there's not one, you know what you can do? You can sign up to become a local coordinator. Help us organize a local group in your area. All right, folks, I do believe that this is going to be a wrap for tonight. Yes, indeed. All right. So look, let me if you didn't get it already, let me just go ahead and tell you thank you. Right. From the bottom of my heart, from everyone here at the TNM, thank you so very much. But also personally want to thank you all for being here. Right. You have showed up week after week and shared a cup of coffee with me while I decompress and talk about what's on my mind. We talk about what's on your mind. I answer questions. This is a fun little relationship that we've got here. And I am super appreciative that you're here to share it with me, right? That I'm not drinking coffee and staring into an empty space. So thank you all very much. That being said, my friends, is that time. So happy Thanksgiving to you all. And I will leave you with the words that I leave you with every single solitary broadcast, every speech. They're not my words, they're the words of Sam Houston when he said that Texas will again lift its head and stand among the nations. I believe that time is now. And the question is, will you stand with her? Good night, everyone.
Texas, our Texas, all hail the mighty state. Texas, our Texas, so wonderful, so great. Boldest and grandest, standing every test. Oh, empire wide and glorious, you stand supremely blessed. God bless you, Texas, and keep you brave and strong, that you may grow in power and worth throughout the ages long. Texas, oh Texas, your freeborn single star sends out its radiance to nations near and far. Emblem of freedom, it sets our hearts aglow with thoughts of San Jacinto and glorious Alamo. God bless you, Texas, and keep you brave and strong, that you may grow in power and worth throughout the ages.